it over to you.
So, just to start off, again, really proud of our football team. I thought, they all came to play today. They knew the importance of this game. We have a lot of respect for Miami. I think they're a good football team and a good program and well coached. But I just started up front. I thought both sides of the line of scrimmage we played extremely well. We ran the ball well early, set up some play action opportunities, so we threw the ball a lot more efficiently. And it was good to get the offense in rhythm. After certainly that last 3 weeks, it was really encouraging to see us get off to a good start. And then our defense is just right now playing really, really well. I mean, we're good up front, and those guys are good at pressuring a quarterback. I think we're covering well in the back end. I think our linebackers are active, and we're playing right now at a very high level on defense. So we just gotta keep that going and keep improving. And again, just really proud of our teams. That's a really good win against a good football team.
Will you talk, Dave, a little bit about what the defensive game plan was? I mean, you would think that it's going to be to stop Dicer, but early on it looked like you were very much committed to stopping the run.
Well, I think the defense always has to start out by stopping the run. And even when you have a quarterback of his level, part of it is defending his running game. That was not a team that you could ever empty the box and say they're one-dimensional because of the threat of him to take off. So you were really almost defending. You were always going to be +1 in the box because of his threat. We did not want to give up seams and pass rush lanes and let him escape. And if you watch him on film, more of his big plays and more of their big plays, almost come outside of the design of the play. That he escapes, the coverage breaks down, a scramble happens. He sees a seam, he takes off for 40 yards. They're very efficient in what they do, but their big plays come off of pockets that break down and scrambles and things like that. So we were always trying to keep an extra eye on him. And even in a lot of our coverages that we were assigning a guy to him almost like he was a receiver. We were going to cover him.
Your defense got plays from playmakers today, though. Chris Jones, boo-boo on the interception. Could you just talk about how some of the veterans really stepped up on the defense?
I mean, Chris Jones, every week I could get up here and talk about him. I mean, he's awesome. He's a great player. I say this all the time, but as good as he is as a player, he's a better person and better leader. And you guys have spent a lot of time with him. I mean, they don't get better than him. So it's always great to see great kids have success. He's worked so hard. And, he at times is a dominant player. And he has made that whole group better. Ted Roulette has now become a very good player, in part because he gets pushed by Chris Jones. And then our ends are starting to step up and make plays. So Brian Thomas, I thought, collapsed the pocket well today. And that whole group has just elevated throughout the year. And, that's what you have to do. When those are sophomores, you hope by week 7 that they're better than they were week 1. And I also think, they've played against some very good football teams. And so I think we're battle-tested, and we came with a good focus and played well. And that's 2 weeks in a row now. We've shut down, I think, 2 of the better offenses in the conference.
You also had to make an adjustment defensively with Dwayne Woods out. Will you talk a little bit about what you did there and how that worked?
Well, John, we've been, and I talked about it in the preseason, that we finally have depth. A year ago, 2 years ago, if we lost Dwayne Woods, I think we'd have fallen off a cliff. We just didn't have a backup, and now we've developed Paul Swan to play both linebacker positions. We've developed DJ Lynch. DJ Lynch has become a very good player in his own right. So, we've been rolling those 3 guys through there. Like last year, Dwayne was always playing 75, 80, 85 plays, and this year, we've rolled those 3 guys in there to keep them fresh. And then we knew in the event that one of them got hurt, we still had 2 good players. And up until today, we were hoping Dwayne would play. He practiced a little bit the other day, and about an hour, 2 hours before the game, he just said he couldn't get it loose. And so even and those guys are ready to go. They've played a lot of reps this year, so it's not like we were sticking a guy in there that hadn't played. Now one of those guys, now we didn't rotate, so that both Paul and DJ, I'm sure, played a lot more reps. But that was what was so good about our offense today is we moved the football. We converted 3rd downs. The time of possession had to be close to, 38, 40? 38 minutes. And, because of that, it kept our defense rested. So it really, what we were concerned about, what the offense did, really minimized that.
And The other thing that 38 minutes of time of possession does is it makes it really hard for Zach Dicer to score, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, and one of our goals on offense this week was just every time we get the ball, make 2 first downs. Just make 2 first downs. Take up 4 or 5 minutes. Keep him on the sidelines. Don't let him get into a rhythm. Don't let him get into a groove. And you know, I think it's really good with our offensive staff that, you know, we present some of our goals every week, and our offensive coordinator gets in front of the whole defense and says, one of our goals is we want to make 2 first downs so their quarterback can't get in a rhythm. And so we're all in. We're going to do whatever we take to win football games. And, you know, if we can make teams go a long field against our defense, I think that puts us in pretty good shape.
The one thing that your defense also did that was different from last week was creating the turnovers. I mean, that's the next step.
Different from all year.
Yeah.
With all the things we've done well on defense this year, we have not had a lot of ball disruption. We haven't had a lot of ball disruptions, and last week we had a bunch of ball disruptions but no turnovers. You know, we had our hands on the ball 3 or 4 times, and it was just fine. I mean, we work on that so hard, disrupting the football, trying to knock it down, created tip balls. We've probably invested more time in that than we ever have, and it was great that in a game of this magnitude that it came through.
Switching to the offense, will you talk a little bit about that run game? I mean, you talked a little bit about the offensive line. You talked a little bit about it. There were guys gaining yards untouched through the line, it looked to me.
I mean, again, I thought our offense coordinator, Coach Ruggiero, did a really good job of spreading them out and creating a light box and then adding somebody to the formation late, which really gave us some great run surfaces. You know, a lot of times when you get an empty, you're thinking they're going to throw it, and when you have quick motion, now you run the ball. There was some, we were running our base runs, but we were running them a little bit differently than we normally do. And you know, hopefully, I think last week we started finding our identity a little bit on offense, but we knew we were going to have to throw it. Miami, we thought, had a very good defensive front, and I think it was good that we got some pass games. I think in the first half we were 12 of 15 throwing the ball. And when you can run the ball and complete 80% of your passes, now you're moving the sticks and getting first downs. And again, it was just a really good effort, you know, on really both sides of the football.
I think you've addressed this already a little bit. The run emphasis by design, right? Setting up the pass, controlling the ball.
Yeah, I think the other thing too, John, is that, you know, in the past we've played so many games from behind. You know, that it's different when you've got a lead or you're in a 1-score game. You can be patient with a run game. You know, when you're playing the second half down 21 points or down 17 points, it's hard to be that patient. So I think the fact that we're playing better in the first half, that our defense, you know, is allowing us to stay in games, allows us to be a lot more patient with the run game. And then I think we've got some really talented backs as well.
In the third quarter, they had scored the touchdown to make it a 1-score game. If I'm remembering it right, you have the big drive by your offense and then Boo-Boo's interception. Will you talk
Well,
about that?
they scored, and then we drove it and then punted, and they got the ball back on the 20, and then we had a 3 and out, and then we came back and scored. And I mean, that was a huge. I mean, Chris Gallen's play. Is that what you're getting to?
Yes, yes, sir.
Huge. If we get stopped there and we have to attempt a field goal, and assuming we would make it, now we're up 8 and it's a 1-score game. And now you score a touchdown, and then you go from up 5 to up 12, and now it's a 2-score game. And now we're doing to them what other teams have done to us, that we kind of make them one-dimensional. And I think anytime you can make an offense one-dimensional, it really allows your defense to tee off a little bit and get after people. But that might have been the play of the game. You know, that we've been working that with Chris, and we just hope, you know, he's a freshman playing for the first time. It's week 7. He's got to start playing like a sophomore and a junior, and that was really a big-time play by him.
We talk also the throw by Matt. I mean, it looked like he purposely left it short that sent the defensive back kind of away from the play.
Well, I think with Chris, you got a big target there. He's, you know, 6'4", 6'5", and I think it was just a matter of getting some height on the ball and keeping it in bounds and allowing him to go up and make a play.
What did the officials tell you on the ball, the kickoff that almost went in the end zone?
I mean, they were trying to do a good job explaining it. I'm not quite sure if I still understand, but that's probably more on me than them. That they said he never possessed the ball in the field of play, and so even if he's tackled in the end zone, even if he was trying to take it out, because he didn't possess it in the field of play, and it was still a touchback.
Even though he was the one who took it into the end zone?
Again, I need to know the rules better. Either I'm sure I'll get an interp on that, but that was the interp they gave us, and when you win, you kind of let it go.
Well, and the very next play, you get Boo-Boo intercepting in the touchdown, and you're thinking, well, forget 2, we'll take 7, basically.
Yeah, it was still, at the time, I still wanted the 2. We always, you never turn down points.
The 2 going for 2 on the last touchdown, the thought
Well,
process?
we talked about it, and we have the 2-point chart, but basically, up 26, we didn't feel did anything. If you're up 26, it's 3 touchdowns and 2-point conversion and a field goal beat you. And so we felt by doing that, we were in a 27-point game, and that would require them to score 3 touchdowns, 2-point conversions, and kick a field goal just to tie it. And so, we talked about it, and again, on the chart, in the fourth quarter, up 25, it's clearly go for 2. We talked about it as a staff, and we said, really, 26 does nothing. 25, 26 doesn't make a difference. 27 now, even if they kick a field goal, it's still 3 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. So you're kind of preparing for the worst there.
And speaking of preparing for the worst, Alex Baer coming out at the end of the first half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll have to see how he's doing. He's playing super. He is playing awesome. So, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we'll get him back soon. But as you know, I won't know anything until probably Tuesday. So you can ask me Monday in the conference call, and I'll probably say I don't know much more. So, but we thought Dwayne was going to play up until kickoff.
And Jamal Hosley.
Jamal Hosley is he's going to be out for the year. But,
what happened?
He had a torn ligament in his knee in practice. It was a non-contact injury. His knee buckled on him, and he'll be done.
And okay, we'll get the red shirt then.
Yeah, because it was in the first half of the season, and he only played in 2 games. So if it happened a week later and he played in this game, you wouldn't get it. But because of when the injury occurred and how much he played, he should get his year back. So he'll still have 4 years.
Was this the same knee that he hurt?
No, it was the opposite one. So which I learned is kind of somewhat common.
Heath Jackson, same thing, he'll be back.
No, he's out for the year.
Well, but he'll get a red shirt.
Well, Heath, we've already redshirted once, and that
Right.
was not a medical red shirt. So this would be a medical red shirt that he would only get it if he had a second injury. You guys the rule book's this thick. I'm sure you could download it, but it's a kind of complicated rule. But Heath will not get this year back unless he'd have another injury, which we hope doesn't happen.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for wearing orange back there.
Hey, I'm a BG guy, you know that.
I know. You fooled me when you were in Miami.